I just wanted to share something with you that I've been discussing with a friend of mine. Having a philosophical discussion about this thread that was on Twitter. It kind of starts about the whole BlackRock, Blackstone, the symbolism behind that, and how those companies form their cryptograms within the structure of their business. Because both businesses basically are cryptograms. If you're not familiar with that term, look it up. Like a cipher, something that requires a decode. And you find this a lot within corporate logos. It's not like it's that uncommon. This is a pretty, normal thing. But when you read this thread, it might change your mind about how benign those things are, or whether or not they're just simply names and that there's no other meaning behind them. And then once you get past that, then I think it's just about, how relevant is it, and whether or not you believe and why you believe that it is relevant, and the debates that surround that. So let me just get to this thing. Towards the end of their thread, and I'm going to put it in the comment section, because no matter what you think of this, I think you should read it. Anybody who wants to know more about Blackstone and BlackRock and the whole real estate market in general. It doesn't get deep into that. It gets deep into their history and who formed them and everything. And then once you get to the end of the article, you're like, wow, this just feels top-down evil. And then it brings you into a larger philosophical discussion about what is evil, what's the nature of evil. This was fascinating to me. So when they're hypothesizing about like why it happened or why they developed these cryptograms surrounding BlackRock and Blackstone, it's revealed that the owners actually did it intentionally. And they discuss it. They talked about it on MSNBC, on CNBC, financial news networks. They actually said, yeah, they did it. And they thought people would come after them if they learned what they were doing, like as a joke. So these things are kind of out there, but let me read something to you from something called The Most Dangerous Book in the World, when discussing the origins of why these people are doing this and what their motivations are and what the larger philosophical discussion is. It says, it needs someone who is as versed in Kabbalah as in conspiracy, in gematria as in government. It requires a new science, a new art, a new approach to the old material. Furthermore, it requires a sense that conspiracy may be transcendental, may have its origins in the unconscious mind of the state. The numerology alone is significant. Someone, somewhere, is pulling these particular quantum strings. The numbers are consistent, insistent. They are either the result of a conscious and deliberate series of acts by agents so powerful and so unknown that a belief in an ultimate secret society is the only option, or they are evidence of the workings of an even darker force, and no one is in charge. That last part, evidence of the workings of an even darker force, and no one is in charge, that's what gets me thinking. Because the more you dig into these types of things and find the synchronicities, the patterns, it's hard to deny that they're there. You can't shut it off. The people that get it, they're brilliant at deciphering it. But understanding its origins, I think, is where we sometimes fail. Because I don't know. I don't always know. Some things, yeah, I know the origins. Like this particular case, these guys straight up said that was their intention. They synchronized the names of their companies to be BlackRock, Blackstone. Then you get deeper into it and you realize, wow, there's way more going on. Especially now that they manage trillions of wealth. Real estate prices are through the roof. Basically making people homeless. Basically taking people's property values away. Intentionally. To enrich how many people? Okay, fine, guys. Boo, rich people, but it's not that. Not really. I think that I've been wondering this myself lately. Why don't people with money that are at this level, I'm not talking about average people, guys, or people that actually have to think about their future. I'm talking about people that never have to worry about it. These are people that once they get to a certain point, they can't fail. Even if they go bankrupt several times, they still don't fail. Once you would attain a certain amount of wealth, you just can't fail. So it begs the question, why within this material world do the people who cannot fail choose to fail at a human level so tragically? Why are we so obsessed with the guy that has $300 billion buying Twitter? Twitter is an energy loop. The more time you spend on Twitter, the more you feel like, sending a zinger at somebody, saying something clever, right? Like you really want to go, yeah, I got that person. Dumb liberal, dumb conservative, right-wing nut, idiot, right? You get in the loop, don't you? It's normal. It's designed to do that. You understand that, right? You also understand that many of the things that you're arguing with on Twitter are things, not people. They're bots. They're purchased personalities. That's why they have such fake cryptogram sounding names. Sometimes all they're doing is combining a series of real photos into one that looks like a real person, but the average person can kind of look and go, that seems off resonance. That doesn't really look like a person. And it looks more like just a regular person that photoshopped themselves to clean themselves up a little bit or look different. So it gets back to the question, is this evidence of the workings of an even darker force and no one is in charge? Meaning, is there even a central figure that we know in this material world that's controlling this? It's something to ask yourself, I think, when you're dealing with or facing something that you perceive as evil or know as evil. If you find one of these synchronicities, or just happens to rise to the surface in a situation, I think this is something to consider philosophically. What is its origins? Should you automatically assume that there's a head honcho or a boss? Or is it that just like the Holy Spirit, just like the universal plasma field, just like whatever creator you believe in, is it possible that the same thing that blesses us with, kindness and charity and goodwill, the Holy Spirit, the creation energy, whatever you want to call it, what fits your particular belief system. But the thing that I've learned over time that is absolutely true is that there is a higher power. There is God. There is a creator. And what I learned by studying energetics is that within everything, there's an inverse. There's a mirror. There's an opposite. As sure as there's north, there's south. As sure as there's east, there's west. As sure as there's 0 degrees, there's 180 degrees. As sure as there's 90 degrees, there's 270 degrees. As sure as there's 33 degrees, there's 213 degrees. I'm not being clever there. That's an actual azimuth that you really should look into, the real meaning of that number. It's an azimuth, an angle. Why do people make a point to assign negativity to things that aren't that way? Why do we choose and select within our subconscious mind to sometimes program what we witness or see as evil when it's benign or just simply synchronistic? I just want something out there today to be considered, this to be considered, because I've been thinking about this a lot. And I think going into this weekend, especially, being a holy holiday, those who are watching in the future, this is Easter weekend, this is Good Friday, Passover is now too. Just maybe to think about these things, because I think if you believe in this larger creator or a God as a creator, then you must know the same types of synchronicities can happen in the inverse. And knowing which is which, that is the challenge. Thank you.